State Department, Washington, D.C., we call in India the Foreign Ministry of the Foreign Ministry, but here we call it State Department.
Okay, check 1 2, testing the podium mic. 1 2 3 4 5. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Yeah.
Under the leadership of the top U.S. diplomat, Mr. Marco Rubio, is the top diplomat of the United States, or Secretary of State, or Minister for Foreign Affairs.
I don't know.
Sure.
Line.
Check 1 2, testing 1 2 3 4 5. Check 1 2, testing 1 2 3 4 5. This is the podium speaker or the podium microphone. Check 1 2, 1 2 3 4 5. Check 1 2.
I got you back over there.
Yep.
I'm not doing anything out here.
Any kind is concerned, and it's up to the U.S. or United States or the administration who gets the visa of any kind and we have the right to revoke your visa anytime we feel like you are not wanted, or your security threat, or the threat to the U.S. property or U.S.
I can definitely get that on this headset.
So, technically,
What we can do is we list it and see if it's unique. I just don't want it to be over.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so I just boosted it a lot. We have both mics up.
Okay, check 1 2, check 1 2. I feel like I'm hearing something. Yeah, 1 2 3 4 5. Check 1 2. This is the podium microphone. Check 1 2, 1 2 3 4 5.
I'm not hearing it though. It's just really low. That's bothering me. Okay. Well, can we at least check the upstages so I don't know if everyone's okay? This mic. So just 3. And you'll be able to hear it easily. You can already hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I was saying with the podium mics. But go ahead and go up, speak one more time so I can hear the beats.
Check 1 2. This is the podium mic. 1 2 3 4 5. Check 1 2. 1 2 3 4 5.
Okay. You're good.
Alright.
You're right. It's not
Tweeting.
Okay, I'll be back in a minute. We're getting the feed. It just sounds like it's not feeding everyone.
Yeah, that's what I was.
on full. Okay. So 7 on 5. We're not getting anything out in the crowd. Testing, 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 testing. You just want to do a reboot?
No. 30 minutes out from the touch them up. They don't have speakers in the room. Sorry. Because we don't know this well enough to on that table, man. It's not connected to anything.
Well, that's all right. So what was it in before? Let's come out the back that you'll see.
Try that. See if you got it now.
I don't think so. Oh, I do, Frank. Cool. That's good. It came out the back of the QC. So it came out the back of the amp.
No.
Where was it at?
There's a connector back there. Goes to the, not to the amp, it goes to the processor. Yes, that's it there. Yeah, that was disconnected.
Okay.
Where? Up on the side. At the moment. Up on the side. Where exactly you want to do this one? Yeah. I mean, ideally, I'd like to. There was not so bad.
Sağ olun, nasıl gidiyor? Okay.
How long were you on this? Just this network the entire time?
Bilmiyorum
That
hangi gün
engagement is
olduğuna
happening,
göre.
like that long exchange is happening.
Kaçındaydınız? Ha, bu cuma.
Yeah, so.
Bilmiyorum şu anda. Her gün değişiyor. Sağ olun, teşekkürler. Size de gelirsin yakında.
She'll do top or the top. So like her remarks at the top will never trans questions. Yes. So yeah, sorry, I'm just I've got special guests here on this side today. Are you guys outside? Less great. Yeah. What about okay on this side? Okay, just come one. All right. Can you get low when you do that, or do you need to be standing the whole time over your microphone? If I can just pop up when he pops up. Yeah. So I'll be in here and I'll help facilitate this, so that way these folks here have it, and not just every person who got jumped the line. I'll let Tammy know as well, so she's not start over and freak out or anything like that. I gotta go before people let this happen. Excellent.
How did that damage it? So I sent to you.
Are you in O2?
Yeah, I is.
Oh, O3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I sent everything forward to the Taraya.
Got it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, yeah, I remember seeing that.
You know what? Now working like that.
Oh, it works there, but not at that.
It's I need.
All right, I'll make sure.
Got it, sorry. See, the original. That's right, sorry.
And did we also adjust the corner?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
You just came Sunday.
Yeah, that was nice. I'll let her. Hey man, it's good to see you too. Where are you? Oh, lovely. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, we actually we're not affiliated at all. We're like the BBC.
You know, anyone's got so far in Gaza, they think they're first aid. They might be they're could be. It could be working as one or two. Yeah, she might be one or two up here.
Yeah, no, not really. But we can definitely help. Because like we have to follow aid in America, so
That
doing that roundtable with Tony Perkins a few days ago. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. And we can have you here.
We're looking forward to it.
Confirmed together?
Like a whole package going out. And I get unlocked in again.
Sorry, run away from me. Bring the chair. Yeah, hopefully we'll get started soon. So,
Hey, boy. Oh, nice to see you, man.
so glad you came today.
Always, man. I gotta run back something.
Thanks for coming. I know it's short notice.
Yeah, no worries. Anytime.
Are you guys swamping? No, just for a second. Okay.
I'm setting up my camera. I'm using her as a host. I'm fine. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes. Thanks to you. No, yeah, yeah.
Why? Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe one of possibly two originals that are still there. Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm getting old. Yeah, kind of. In this little bush, sure.
Not yet. One second. Give me 1 second, please.
Really? I didn't know it was that true. Well, before I was cricket, I don't remember it being that difficult, although I did.
All those people, listen, all those people are already confirmed, they still in the school. So I can't move you to the second
Stuff
floor.
for tricks and all that thing. I would have them come outside on 23rd, and I just give it to them so I didn't have to go inside the office. Just makes it so much easier.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I know it was, oh, good. We're still getting some seats here. We're good. Welcome aboard, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Nice and air conditioned, not like outside. So I do have a few announcements, of course, as you might imagine, and then we will, the Imperial we, will take your questions. Thank you all for being here. I do appreciate it. Under the leadership of President Trump and Secretary Marco Rubio, the United States continues to pursue a clear-eyed foreign policy that prioritizes the safety, prosperity, and global standing of the American people. Last week, the department welcomed delegations from the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda to Washington to support implementation of the June 27th peace agreement, led by senior advisor Boulos. These discussions focused on regional security, cooperation, and economic development, critical pillars for achieving lasting peace and prosperity in the Great Lakes region. And today, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden announced they would fund an additional $500 million package of U.S.-made equipment for Ukraine. In addition, yesterday, the Netherlands announced it will fund the first package of U.S.-made weapons and munitions, including Patriot missiles, worth over $500 million. Together, these deliveries total over $1 billion of life-saving, top-of-the-line American equipment that, as noted by Ambassador Whitaker, will allow Ukraine to, quote, protect critical infrastructure and civilian lives while also staying in the fight until a lasting ceasefire happens. These commitments deliver on President Trump's initiative to facilitate billions of dollars in investment to the United States defense industry and create American jobs while ensuring Europe can ultimately defend itself long term. Additionally, today, the State Department published a temporary final rule in the Federal Register. I know that sounds kind of bureaucratic-like for everyone watching at home. This is to implement a visa bond pilot program under the Immigration and Nationality Act, consistent with Executive Order 14159, beginning August 20th. Nationals of Malawi and Zambia applying for B1, B2 business and tourist visas will be required to post a bond of up to $15,000. This targeted common sense measure reinforces the administration's commitment to U.S. immigration law while deterring visa overstays. Now, turning to our disaster response for the Philippines. With $250,000 in funding from the Department of State, the World Food Program is transporting family food packs to flood-affected people across central and northern Luzon, with nearly 14,000 delivered to date. The department is providing an additional $250,000 to provide emergency shelter assistance to meet the needs of over 15,000 disaster-affected individuals. Finally, President Trump is signing an executive order today establishing a White House task force on the 2028 Summer Olympic and Paralympic Games. With Los Angeles set to host the World, the task force will coordinate across federal, state, and local agencies to ensure streamlined visa processes, robust security, and efficient transportation. This action highlights America's enduring role as a global leader and premier destination for international engagement, tourism, and sports diplomacy. All right, so a bunch of stuff there. I am looking forward now to taking your questions. And we'll start here. Yes, ma'am. Nice to see you up here as opposed to further back. Welcome aboard.
Very revolutionary.
And you know,
for us,
let
for
me,
journalists.
before you begin, I do want to announce everyone who is in the front row today. As we know, we have guests as well as regular attendees here in the room for our front row. First, we have Mal MacIver Sheridan with Kyoto. We have Sarah Karakam with Hulk TV Turkey. Sean Fleetwood with The Federalist. Adam Credo with the Washington Free Beacon. I know your avatar on social media. Now everyone's going to be able to see your face. John Lyons, or is it John or Kamen? Kamen. Welcome aboard. Kamen Gok with ABC Australia. And Jacob with the Times of Israel. Welcome aboard. Nice to see you again. Saw you this morning. All right, everyone. So now again, Sarah, let's start with you.
Thank you very much. I want to start with Syria. SDF military leader Mazlum Abdi recently stated that Syria should adopt a decentralized structure where all groups have the right to self-governance. He added that a centralized system has already failed. He also said that during his meeting with U.S. Ambassador to Turkey and Special Envoy Thomas Barak, that Ms. Barak came to understand that Syria cannot be governed from a single center. Given that and considering Turkey's strong opposition to any form of Kurdish autonomy in the northeast due to SDF's ties to PKK, an organization that is reportedly now engaged in a disarmament reintegration process in Turkey, albeit with no formal outcome yet, does the U.S. support the SDF's apparent push to establish a parallel or federal governing structure rather than reintegrating into the central Syrian regime? Has the U.S. position on Syria's territorial integrity shifted or softened in any way?
So in general about Syria, I think that this is important. First thing I want to do is read a tweet from Ambassador Barak, our ambassador to Turkey, as well as, of course, our special envoy there in the Middle East as well, Syria and Lebanon. He tweeted, disturbing violence erupted yesterday, this was on August 4th, I should say, in Suwaida and in Manbij. Diplomacy is the best way to stop violence and build a peaceful, lasting solution. The United States is proud to have helped mediate a solution in Suwaida and to be co-mediating with France the reintegration of the Northeast into a unified Syria. The path ahead belongs to Syrians, urging all sides to uphold calm and resolve differences through dialogue, not bloodshed. Syria deserves stability. Syrians deserve peace. When it comes to, I guess you're asking about Turkey and the
single center governance, did you change your stance on that?
Well, no, first of all, Ambassador Barak continues to engage all parties to ensure security and calm for all Syrians. But we are continuing to support dialogue with the Syrian government and the Syrian democratic forces aimed at integrating the SDF into the Syrian military. Of course, we welcome all productive meetings between the SDF and President al-Shura. We also support the SDF's intent to transform the current ceasefire in northeast Syria into a comprehensive and lasting peace. And of course, it will be up to Syria and the new government to move the country toward peace and prosperity. I can say that when we look at the notion of a comprehensive, inclusive government, of course, that is the way that it has to work. And I think, as we've talked before about places that have been unstable, that's been the point, is that we're working for stability. And I think our position previously still stands, certainly. And we continue with democracy being vitally important, as well as diplomacy when it comes to the nature of how we solve the problems there.
A short follow-up, please. Is the U.S. following Turkey's newly formed parliamentary commission that is reportedly working to end PKK's armed campaign, potentially through reforms and in counterterrorism criminal legislation change for a peaceful transition? If so, how might that effort affect your approach to northern Syria and your ongoing partnerships on the ground?
Well, first of all, we won't comment on actions that governments are taking internally when it comes to legislation or moves that they seek to make. Nor will I discuss the impact on what our negotiations might be or our relationship with other governments that are affected by something like that. At the same time, I'll take that back to a degree to see if there has been any remarks or elements that might be helpful. And again, for those watching at home, when we say we're going to take back a question, it means that we're going to get an answer to that question in some form and get it back directly to the reporter as well. So I think we've got a good track record in that regard. All right, yes, Leon.
Yes, hi, thanks, Tammy. I'd like to speak a little bit about Gaza. The Israeli Prime Minister had a cabinet meeting earlier. They're settling on a new plan for Gaza, which according to certain reports would mean reoccupying all of Gaza. What is the State Department's position on that? Would you support an occupation of all of Gaza?
Well, of course, you know what we're focused on still, getting the hostages out after what we saw with videos over the last couple of days. It is a reminder to people about the evil that has been running this terror operation in Gaza via, of course, through Hamas. What I can tell you is that we would refer you in that instance regarding Israel's plans to the government of Israel. And regarding that reporting, again, reporting is one thing, real plans might be another. We are not in the business of interpreting statements from foreign governments when and if they're made. We do remain focused on freeing the hostages, including the remains of 2 Americans, and ensuring that Hamas never rules Gaza again. All right. Yes, sir, from Australia.
Thank you, Tammy. For a country like Australia, even though we have a free trade agreement, we're now being hit with tariffs. The US is reviewing the AUKUS submarine agreement, and it seems our Prime Minister can't even get a meeting with your President. What does this say about the way the United States now views some of its relationships with its traditional allies?
Well, I don't speak for President Trump, right? He's made clear his intentions and his efforts around the world. Here at the State Department, of course, we speak for the view and approach of Secretary Rubio. What I can say, though, is what President Trump has said publicly, which is that in the beginning of the tariff framework, it was to even the playing field, and then, yes, move into negotiations with countries around the world. So for more details about the timing and plans and conversations, I'd refer you to the White House. What I do know, of course, is that we enjoy a terrific relationship with Australia. We always have, and I think we expect to have that continue. I can say that our alliance has never been stronger or more important. We share the same values, beliefs, and goals. We have fought, of course, side by side in battles over the last 100 years. But I think that for President Trump's approach and attitude, it really is about America being as strong as she can be, which matters to the rest of the world and informs all the rest of our alliances and partnerships. For our nation to be strong and as secure as we can be. Certainly, Australia and all of our partners around the world recognize this. It's been, I think, a very long time, which is why many people have been surprised that we're going to have conversations like this. We've seen his success. The money that has come into America as a tremendous supplier and supplier of goods around the world. So I think that that's what we can expect for Australia, as we do a number of other countries, of which we'll have the pleasure of being able to speak with the president and make their own arrangements as well in that regard. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. So in recent weeks, we've seen the release of previously classified documents showing that then President Obama and his intel chiefs weaponized a 2017 Intel Community Assessment to push the lie that Trump colluded with Russia in the 2016 election. And in this ICA, which showed at the behest of Obama's intel chiefs, included weak and misinterpreted intel to push the notion that Russia wanted Trump to win the election. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the ICA did not include evidence showing the opposite. Many media and the Democrats have since clung to the Senate Intel Committee report and then Senator Rubio's work in drafting that report that said the ICA was fine and that they agreed with Obama's intel chiefs that Russia intervened to help Trump. So my question is, does Secretary Rubio agree with the media and other Democrats that there was nothing improper about the creation of the ICA, or do the recent documents that have been released change his views about the assessment?
Well, I put out a statement myself responding to this when it first came up, and I've found that for you. But I would say that this, in some ways, explains, of course, the vehemence and the effort to try to keep President Trump from winning the last election. Because of the nature now of what investigations are occurring or may occur. This is what the American people voted for. We saw a great deal going on that was improper, and so we look forward, of course, to what these investigations reveal. Regarding Secretary Rubio, as then Senator Rubio, my statement was this, I think maybe over a week ago. If the legacy media were at all curious about the facts of the matter, they would have found from then Senator Rubio's own statement from 2020 concurrence with DNI Gabbard's consequential findings. Then Senator Rubio determined that the use of the Steele dossier was, quote, very troubling, but even more so, he was alarmed by the behavior and the actions of the FBI in pursuit of what has now been confirmed as a dangerous hoax. His statement revealed serious wrongdoing leading to one of the most infamous political scandals in American history, And of course, I think that at that time was appropriate. And as all of us who are here and grateful to be here and blessed to be here, we are also grateful for the American people seeing through that and putting President Trump back in office.
A quick follow-up, if I may.
Right, sure.
So you're saying that Secretary Rubio disagrees with the assessment from Democrats and the media that the drafting of the ICA was on the up and up?
Well, what I can say and what I always caution people in this room to not do is to not draw an extended conclusion about something that I presented. What I presented is what I presented. So I'm not going to expand more on that regarding what the Secretary thinks or might be considering. I won't get ahead of the Secretary in that regard. But I think it's pretty clear what his position is. Right, Daphne.
Thank you so much. Just to follow up on my colleague's question on Gaza,
Yes.
have U.S. officials spoken with Netanyahu about this potential plan for a complete military takeover of Gaza?
I won't remark on any conversations whether or not they have occurred.
Okay, and then Axios is reporting that Witkoff and President Trump discussed plans for the U.S. to increase its role in providing humanitarian aid to Gaza. What will this look like, and how quickly will the U.S. act? I know Trump has mentioned food centers. Where does that stand now?
Well, as we all know, every few minutes things change. When we say something's fluid on the ground, this couldn't be a better example of the nature of how things are moving. I can tell you that after the visit from Special Envoy Witkoff and Ambassador Huckabee, they went at the behest of the president, who wanted people on the ground to be able to report back to him exactly what was happening. Most of us, of course, are relying on reports from various areas. They have reported back to the president. What I won't do is get ahead of what the president will decide about what he's heard and the actions that he will decide to take. He will, obviously, he'll make that known to everyone. But what we do know, of course, from the beginning is that humanitarian aid has been at the heart of our action, not just for Gaza, but around the world. In my topper, as we call it, I mentioned, of course, our current standing with the Philippines and assistance there. But we do know, of course, just as a reminder for people who might not know, Special Envoy Witkoff spent over 5 hours inside Gaza this last weekend to assess the situation and to begin planning the best way to deliver urgent food and medical care to Gaza. And while we don't have anything to announce at this point, obviously it's rather early regarding the end result of that, that still remains our priority. All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Also on Gaza,
Yes.
the Free Beacon reported last night about mounting concerns about the Red Cross and its failure to assess the Israeli hostages that are still being held there, especially after Hamas's latest videos came out. Folks I spoke to said to me that are actually looking at reassessing the U.S. relationship with the Red Cross because of this. So I wanted to ask you, one, about that. Is that an option with Congress to reassess the Red Cross's position over there? And two, what's your assessment of their job they've been doing in terms of accessing the Israeli hostages and providing them what appears to be much needed medical care?
Well, I won't speak about the Red Cross or Israel's reaction to that. There's certainly many moving parts. We know that is part of the nature of what Hamas tends to do. I believe that there were some requirements for them to allow that, but I won't get into those particular details. Obviously, though, with what we've seen with those videos, I've referred to Hamas as monsters in this room. They are clearly a terrorist group. Their main support has been Iran, and they are on their heels now. Clearly, the Middle East is changing, and it is a change that President Trump has asked to be one that is a reflection of new ideas, of having this be a durable peace, not this vicious circle of it happening several times during each generation as though this was some new normal. We reject that. It is clear that the time is now to make the difference it is about, of course, the Israeli people. But the nationalities involved in October 7th, the way that this affects the world as they continue to contribute to try to make a difference, it's a world we all deserve better. So at this point, I would say that when it comes to what Israel's planning, we will have to wait and see. And again, what the decisions that President Trump will announce when it comes to what the way is forward will, based on his pattern, will come up very quickly, perhaps sooner than most of us can imagine. But there is, on the hostages, what we saw, it is an astoundingly evil reminder of who they are in the midst of the conversation around the world. For them to feel comfortable then putting on full display their barbarity and their inhumanity tells you that they seem to feel pretty comfortable at the moment. All of us, the world was appalled. I mean, there's just no other way to describe it. But our leadership clearly is involved in looking to the future, and that is one that the Gazan people deserve and that everyone in the world deserve. Andrea Mitchell.
Thank you so much, Tammy. I wanted to ask you what the State Department or Secretary Rubio's position is on what to do with warehoused excess food from USAID, some of which has not spoiled, biscuits in Dubai, peanut paste, and whether that should be distributed. It's all been paid for by the taxpayers. So is there a view toward whether it should be incinerated or distributed or some combination? Is there a plan afoot?
Well, there's many moving parts, I can say. There is a dynamic involving various different considerations regarding expired food, regarding our Mexico City policy when it comes to certain items as well. And food, we discussed this before, but it's worth repeating. We have food that is purchased, meant to be distributed to specific locations. And then there is food in various locations around the world that is for global emergencies, that sits. And it's food that is meant not to be moved. It's food to be there if there is an emergency where people have to be fed in a quick way with food that is sustainable and and that can be maintained for an extended period of time. But that is food. It's all right. That's the electronic world. It's food that is meant to not be moved. But then there's food, of course, that is there, that is stored in certain places, that is meant for a location. And that moves out and it gets distributed where it should be. But if food is spoiled, it will be destroyed. We are not going to distribute food that is expired. If there is food that is meant for emergencies that has expired, we'll deal with that also accordingly.
Is there any circumstance under which the State Department would countenance destroying unspoiled food for some reason?
Well, I again don't know of all the circumstances. I can say that there could be a reason of all the things that exist around the world, whether it is the inability for us to move it, a refusal of a government to allow us access or to move it to another country. I can't speak. There are many, many different fronts about why certain decisions are made. What I can tell you is what I've watched over the last 6 months are people who've been here for years, sometimes decades. I see you, sir. Keep your hand down. Thank you very much. Of people who've worked here on these issues for a very long time, others of us who are new because of the election. And the focus has been on how can we make these things work? How can we save enough of whatever the issue is? If it's about funding, if it's about food, if it's about what do we need, how can we make it work, but within the smartest, fastest, most nimble way to be able to help as many people as possible. No one is sitting in a room thinking, how can we destroy as much stuff as possible? That's not our goal. I've spoken in this room many times about the impact of the people who are Foreign Service officers and who are civil servants, who've dedicated their lives, their professions, to making a difference for people around the world. They are still here. They still care deeply. And we are here to try to manage, right, the largest, the most amazing government in the world and what we can do for the people around the world while still paying the respect and the deference to the American people and what they deserve first, so that we can remain the powerhouse and the helper and the friend that we are around the world. So each situation is different, but our goal is to make sure that we do remain in the foreign aid business. We remain a facilitator of things that the world needs. Many people probably didn't know that we have these food stores around the world waiting in case something happens. But we need to be able to facilitate that, and we're doing so transparently. We discuss this with you, and that's what I know about the people who work here. All right. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Tammy. Over the weekend, the State Department confirmed that Khamis Ayad, a Palestinian who died due to complications from smoke inhalation after trying to put out a fire started by allegedly Israeli settlers in a village in the West Bank, confirmed that he was a U.S. citizen. Is the U.S. State Department calling on Israel to investigate this death? Has this issue been raised with Israeli authorities?
Well, we have made comments before. There have been, it's a violent situation. There have been a few Americans who've passed in this kind of a dynamic, certainly also one in Syria. Our first priority, and it's not a motto or a slogan, is the safety and security of Americans everywhere. So certainly here at home, but also abroad. We know that when a death occurs in a foreign country, it's that foreign country's prerogative, right? They will be doing an investigation. We have called upon Israel to investigate, of course, each of these instances that they are, and that we wait to see what those investigations will be, and that's the case here in this situation. There's a great deal we of course still don't know, but that is something. To say we're following it is an understatement. We are on that and every other situation that has impacted an American citizen, wherever they may be in the world. And then once those local investigations are done and we take a look, again, this is a DHS issue, if you will, when it comes to investigations, or the FBI. But as each one of these situations move forward, I will keep everyone up to date. All right. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Tammy. Yesterday, Speaker Johnson was in the West Bank, which he referred to as Judea and Samaria, and said that it rightfully belongs to the Jewish people. Is that official U.S. policy? And if it's not, what is U.S. policy towards the West Bank?
Well, I have said this about other diplomats who've spoken their minds, including Ambassador Huckabee. Certainly, that's not... if there's a policy in that regard, you would hear it from me. So I think I can say that. I'm not going to speak for him or characterize his words in any certain ways, but clearly that is his opinion.
But it's not the opinion of the U.S. government?
Well, I'm not going to speak about opinion of the government, and if there's a policy regarding the status in any region of the world, but certainly in the Middle East, I would wait to hear it from Secretary Rubio and President Trump. All right. All right. Yes, sir. Alec?
Special Envoy Witkoff's upcoming trip,
Nadia, please, go ahead.
Special Envoy Witkoff's upcoming trip to Russia. How much you guys are hoping to achieve, given the fact that there are reports that Russia is not, prepared to give up the claims other than partial ceasefire?
Well, first of all, the president has noted, of course, that Special Envoy Witkoff will be traveling to Russia this week, so we can confirm that from this podium. What that will entail, I have no details for you.
And as you know, this is happening in front ahead of forthcoming sanctions on Russia. Can you fill us in on?
Well, are you saying that? Are you declaring for the United States government there's going to be more sanctions on Russia? I'm not sure. I would say I would need to hear that from President Trump. When it comes to, clearly the president's not happy with Mr. Putin and Russia, but he remains committed to diplomatic solutions. I would say that we've also seen a remark, perhaps a reflection of possible secondary sanctions regarding the sale of oil. People who are countries that are buying Russian oil. And that has been openly discussed by the president. But when it comes to things that are decided, we would wait for the president to say that.
On that line, Tammy, do you have any response to Indian Foreign Minister's statement saying that they are not going to change their position on oil purchase from Russia. And adjacent to that, Ukrainian leadership today announced that they actually flagged India-made parts that they found in Russian drones. Do you have any reaction?
Well, again, I won't speak for what the president would think about those things. We do obviously have Envoy Witkoff going to Russia. We are committed on that end. I will not characterize or remark on another nation's comments about what they will or will not do. I can barely do that here. But I do know that, of course, President Trump understands the entire field. And he has made it very clear he doesn't like what's been happening. He is a man who is a humanitarian. He has spent all these months now getting people to the table, finding a solution. But he's a realist, and when he says something and you can see where he's moving, he's very transparent. That is the voice that you need to hear from. So he is the guiding hand. And when it comes to what Russia is doing and those nations that are facilitating this war on Ukraine, it will be up to President Trump about how to respond. All right? Yes, at the end there.
Tomorrow, August 6 marks 80 years since the United States dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. The U.S. ambassador to Japan will also participate in the event in Hiroshima. Do you have any comment on that? And what is the current administration's basic policy on nuclear weapons? Thank you.
Yes, I do have a remark on that. Thank you, sir. So for tomorrow, 80 years ago, the United States and Japan concluded a devastating war in the Pacific. For 80 years, the United States and Japan, however, have stood shoulder to shoulder to safeguard peace and prosperity in the Pacific. Tomorrow marks a solemn day of reflection and remembrance as we honor the people of Hiroshima and their enduring message of peace and hope. For 80 years, their resilience has inspired the world, and their spirit of reconciliation has strengthened the U.S.-Japan alliance and our shared commitment to peace and prosperity. Today, our two nations stand together as close allies, facing the future with unity and purpose. By embracing the promise of possibility, we have forged a partnership that serves as a beacon of freedom and progress for the world. It is, if I may just add, that it is a perfect example of the nature of what can be accomplished with two nations when we work together, and the nature of friendship, the beauty of Japan, and the fact that we can stand here 80 years later and speak to that. I appreciate. Thanks for being here, sir. Yes,
Thank
Mike.
you, Tammy. On Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, Special Envoy Witkoff at his tour inspection of GHF sites last week, we were initially told when the U.S. came aboard as a financial sponsor of GHF that there'd be an ongoing review, essentially to determine if the money is being spent in a wise manner. So a month on now, I guess, or a little bit more, can you point, I mean, beyond just the number of meals, and I know you say it's never enough, can you pinpoint down to a more micro level, A, B, and C is working really well, D, E, and F are areas of concern? Can you get into that assessment?
Well, you know, I really can't. GHF could get into that, but I know the numbers get to be so big, it becomes something maybe that's not of interest, but it's over 1 million meals that have been distributed. I think that matters to the people that have been able to have those meals. And yes, he mentions the fact that it's never enough, because I remind people we don't expect it to be enough. And that's why we work to change the situation. I can refer you, though, also, again, to Special Envoy Witkoff's approach and his attitude, is that the visit was to make that determination about what else needed to happen in a framework that could be enough. And I've noted, of course, the only enough would be in an arena that was not a war zone, and where you could actually build and facilitate something that could serve the people of that region.
Very quickly, President Trump remarked on Sunday evening he wasn't sure if Ambassador Waltz would be a member of the cabinet as the eventual UN ambassador, which was a change because Elise Stefanik was supposed to be. Secretary Rubio have a position as to whether he wants the UN ambassador to be in the cabinet?
Well, I love when you ask me the questions that you know I can't answer. So I'm not going to speak to what the president is thinking or considering regarding the cabinet or what other elements might be involved, nor will I talk about Secretary Rubio's opinion about what may or may not happen hypothetically. All right.
Thank
and
you.
now to Nadia, thanks for your patience.
Thank you so much, Tammy. I wanted to press you again on the Gaza plan. The president said clearly and many times that he wants to end wars in the Middle East, and I believe that's the secretary's position.
Yes, that's true.
How does Netanyahu's plan or proposed plan of reoccupying Gaza fits into this vision, considering that many people believe that without American weapons, Israel cannot carry with this war? So you have lots of leverage to advise Prime Minister Netanyahu whether to take this decision or not.
Well, you know, what I do love is when you're in the Oval Office and you're able to ask President Trump a direct question, which you've been able to do, and it's been very impressive. That is a question for the president. I would say, though, that and I'm, again, thrilled to be here with his leadership, in that we've seen him display what his commitment has been, which is to stop the suffering, end the carnage, bring peace for the who wouldn't if you had the wherewithal to do it. Of course, that's what we're doing. I certainly won't speak to what Israel's plans are. There's been many reports. I'm not going to speak to news reports or what another government is planning or not planning. What I do know is that this government, the Trump administration, is focused on this. It's clear. This is what they intend to do. He wants this to end. He said that from the beginning, that the actions that we would take, it wouldn't be about months or years, about meeting to have meetings, and that there's resolutions. As a businessman, you've got to have a point where something is developed and produced and done. So I would say that considering we know that the Secretary Rubio, of course, working very closely, and also as the acting NSA with the president in the White House, that we have, I would argue, the best minds in the world dealing with and deciding how to implement this notion that war-torn ravaging and suffering should never be someone's normal. That's what we will see from President Trump, Secretary Rubio, and this entire government as a whole. But we certainly won't comment on hypotheticals or speculating on what that might mean. The good news is you'll hear it right from them in a variety of different formats. And that it's an exciting time to watch this. It's heartbreaking most of the time. It's exciting and hopeful part of the time. And I think we're going to get there.
And Ambassador Huckabee, how do we know that he's speaking his mind as an opinion and when he talks about U.S. policy? Because he reports to the secretary. So as a reporter, how do I know if he's just expressing his opinion about the settlement being part of Israel and when actually this is a policy, if the president or the secretary did not articulate that?
So we're getting into a little bit of a conspiracy dynamic here.
It's not really.
But here's why there's this podium. We have a very particular structure, that the president speaks on the tarmacs. He has gaggles. Caroline Leavitt speaks for the approach of the president in the White House. I am here speaking regarding the approach as the voice of the State Department, regarding what our plans are. I obviously can't say everything to you. That's very apparent. But I endeavor to say as much as I can to give you details. There's no one in the world who is randomly going to be speaking about policy that is not evident, that you have not heard from, or is a policy of the State Department or the White House that is not either evident to you, has been said, has been put in a paper, a release, an op-ed, a readout. I would urge you to focus on the centers that have been created to offer what the policy of the State Department or of the White House, this government is. It's very obvious, and yet, of course, people will speak their mind. I would ask you to take everyone's comments as in that kind of situation as their opinion and speaking their mind. And it's why we love the diplomats of this country. We have some very smart, caring, passionate people. And he's one of them, and I adore him. Yes, sir, in the middle.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have two quick questions. Why are you so concerned about the militias bill in the Iraqi parliament? If passed, what will be the implication from American side?
So the Iraqi militias in the parliament?
Yes.
I've got something for you regarding a bill. Is that are you alluding to the bill that has? All right. Well, there's been some movement on that. For those who might not know, there is a bill that has further institutionalizes armed groups associated with terrorist groups and Iran-backed groups, including several that have attacked U.S. interests and killed U.S. personnel. This bill, by the way, we strongly oppose any legislation that is inconsistent with the goals of our bilateral security assistance and partnership that runs counter to strengthening Iraq's existing security institutions. We support genuine Iraqi sovereignty, not legislation that turns Iraq into an Iranian satellite state. So, you know, that's our opinion regarding the bill. We also, can I say that, I think that's as much as I can say in that regard. That's as much as I can say today, but I'll be back with you Thursday and will likely try to have as much more as I possibly can.
Second question, this week we remember the Yazidis who were targeted for genocide by ISIS terrorists 11 years ago. 1,000 lost their lives, at least 3,000 remain missing. How important do you think it is for all refugees to be able to return home to Sinjar? As you know, Sinjar is now under the control of the militias.
It feels, you know, people will remember that. It feels like it was a million years ago, but it was a horrible dynamic that transpired as we watched these Yazidis targeted by ISIS. That time when ISIS was just a cancer running around the world effectively, certainly through the Middle East, destroying people's lives. We were told that it would take 30 years to get rid of ISIS, that Muslims would be upset, as though Muslims like what's going on with this. They don't. This is not an issue. This was a horrible terrorist group. Of course, President Trump got into office and was not afraid of the nature of that. It would take forever. And he wiped them out in about 18 months. And we forget, we move on. There have been other horrible things that have happened. But we did that. And part of that massacre, part of that genocidal action throughout the Middle East, certainly at least, by ISIS, targeted the Yazidis. So, yes, this was 11 years ago. Thousands lost their lives. 2,700 remain missing, never found. And what I can say is this. It is important that survivors receive support as they pursue justice. Security and stability in Sinjar are key for the safe and voluntary and dignified return of the Yazidi community. Yazidis deserve the opportunity to rebuild their lives and homeland. So that's what we'll say there.
Thank
all right.
you very much. Thank
all right.
you.
All right. So, go ahead. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Just to clarify on the question about GHF, did Special Envoy Witkoff come away favorably impressed with what he saw of its operations last week?
Well, his statement, which I read at the beginning here, spoke to the fact that we're going to be continuing to look at how best to get humanitarian aid and to further our goal for the humanitarian aid. I have nothing further to say regarding his assessment of GHF or what that additional work or expansion might look like.
Okay. And on his portfolio in Russia, there are reports that the Russians are proposing a limited air truce, a cessation of drone and missile activity. Would that be satisfactory to the U.S. in order to forestall sanctions?
Well, I can't say anything about either one of those questions. First of all, I won't comment on or speculate on what a diplomatic choice would be regarding what's offered or what's not offered. I don't know that. Nor would I suggest that I would know what President Trump would find suitable. And that's who this decision rests with.
And on the purchases of oil, I think both India and China have indicated that they fully intend to continue purchasing Russian oil, whether or not U.S. sanctions are imposed. Is the U.S. seeking additional leverage in order to change Russian behavior, or what other levers is it going to reach?
Well, we know there's, of course, there's sanctions. There's what's known as secondary sanctions, which is what we're talking about now, sanctioning a country or a company or others that might be doing business with a country that we have sanctioned in this instance. I know that President Trump, as we all know, has many tools in his tool chest. This is one of them. He has invested a great deal and will continue to, regarding the wars and the conflicts around the world to stop them. And as a businessman, he likes to use, understandably, the tools that can make a difference with countries. We usually, of course, that is about economy, the economics of what's happening. And that's a very specific approach. It's something every country can understand. It's a role that America can play. And certainly at the direction of President Trump, it makes a huge difference in what certain countries feel. Whether that's enough for him, what else he might do, I won't get ahead of him or speculate. All right. Yes, sir?
Excuse me, on Iran. The Iranian government has established a Supreme National Defense Council. How does the U.S. see this? Does this show that the Iranians are getting ready for further escalation? And are there chances of future talks between Iran and the U.S.?
Well, we are aware of the reports that they've set up this new defense council, following, of course, the 12-day war, the Iran-Israel conflict. And I have no further comment for you. Except maybe that. Yes. Yes, sir. Next to you.
Yes. I was wondering if you have any update on the case of Saif al-Muslit, who was a Palestinian American, was killed a few weeks ago, last month to be exact. And Ambassador Huckabee said that he called on Israel to aggressively investigate the murder. If you have an update on that, and if not, you can get back to me anytime. But also, are there like any kind of communication between the U.S. government and the Israeli governments on stopping this from keep happening? Because apparently there is a pattern.
Well, I don't have anything new for you, but the initial posture is strong and remains, which is our expecting to see an investigation that comes with results. And of course, we are constantly engaged with Israel. I can't speak to exactly what those conversations are or on what topics, but it's been obviously made very clear that we expect some information and a resolution to the nature of what occurred. And obviously, when we learn that, we will take further action. So I can't give you the details in this regard. I can tell you it should be a given that any place, and we've demonstrated this throughout the administration, throughout certainly Secretary Rubio's remarks and his actions, as well as President Trump's, that we are trying to stop conflicts. We are committed to ending carnage and death and destruction around the world for everyone, but certainly this is from a president whose America First policy recognizes the value and the importance of this country in increasing the value and importance of every other nation around the world. But that is, in our unique position as Americans in this country, reliant on the United States of America being as strong and as capable as possible, because the world has seen our nature, and that is to stop wars, deter them, try to have ceasefires, have peace around the world. And his commitment domestically, as you've seen, and a whole of government effort, not just around the world, but here at home, to make sure that Americans are safe everywhere, including at our border, in American cities and towns, in large urban areas, that Americans here in the United States, we deserve a better life. That is why President Trump was elected. It is what Americans voted for. But we also expect for Americans to feel that wherever they are in the world. So yes, I think it's safe to say, not that I've been a party to the conversation, that it's clear to the world that we expect Americans to be treated well, to be safe, and if something happens horribly, to have it be dealt with appropriately. That is, I think, the bottom line when it comes to when we say here at the State Department, the safety and security of Americans everywhere is our top priority. We're not kidding. And neither is the President, and neither is Secretary Rubio. That is it for today. Everyone, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We'll be back with you on Thursday. Thank you. Have a great day.
said there's no opening there. There isn't. Ah. You gotta go all the way. Sorry?
Yeah.
Fine. On that bridge you can see this way.